The Jeffries family has been working the soil of southeast Indiana for more than 30 years. There's been good years and bad. Last year's drought made it tough on some.
If you were in an area that got rain, it was a really good year, but if you were in the area that didn't get it, it was a very tough year.
Matt and his brother Mark know that with farming, you're just never sure. Right now, they're optimistic.
Crops don't look too bad right now, but it's a long time between now and harvest time. We've got a lot of acres of crops out, but as of right now, there's no way to turn it into cash right now.
For the time being, they'll play the waiting game.
Last night we had a good rain now. We were starting to get pretty dry.
So with a little more timely rain and some nice weather, this should be a good crop. What could make it a very valuable crop is the lack of competition it finds when it reaches the market.
It usually takes some bad news of some kind to make a difference in the grain markets. They said with all the flooding, we lost about 5 million acres of corn and soybeans.
That flooding in the Midwest sent corn futures soaring to nearly $8 a bushel.
It's usually one person's loss is another person's gain.
Still, the agriculture market is unpredictable. So, like with the rain, these brothers must wait and hope for the best.
Farming in general is like being on a roller coaster. It's got its highs and lows, you know. I guess that's why we're farmers. It's what everyone does. We're all in the same boat.
Wandering the fields of Ripley County, Mike Buckingham, Fox 19 News.
Yeah, I told him it was too hot. He needed to turn it off. And I guess he didn't. But now I have no dad.
Debbie Marsh's dad was home last night when his house on Lois Drive in Westchester Township caught fire. 65-year-old Robert Hunter had limited mobility due to some medical problems. He was unable to get out on his own.
I ran in there, and the smoke and the flames, well, the smoke basically shoved me back out the door so I couldn't get him.
The fire trucks pulled up and went to work finding Bob Hunter.
We had reports that there was a person trapped. We immediately went into rescue mode and were able to retrieve one victim.
They found him alive when they got to him, and he had a cardiac arrest and died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
The state fire marshal was on scene this morning trying to determine a cause for this fire. Debbie thinks she knows.
His lamp was kind of hot, and I told him to turn it off and get the halogen bulb out, but he didn't, so I think that's what started the fire.
Debbie wants her father's death to send a message to others about the dangers of using too large of a bulb in a halogen lamp.
I just don't want anybody else to do it, to go through the same thing we're going through.
Mike Buckingham, Fox 19 News. Summer in Cincinnati, you can expect the smog alerts to be up, the pools to be open, and the heat alerts to be on.
The problem this year is $200,000 in federal money that's usually available to buy things like fans and air conditioners was cut from the budget, leaving the Community Action Agency in a crisis.
We have been trying to figure out how to do a program, to do something, because we have gotten all these calls.
With no money coming from the federal government, the city has stepped up to get things started.
The city manager was able to identify $25,000 in funds that we will be able to use.
The health and safety of our residents is of paramount importance.
The Community Action Agency, who runs the summer cooling program, says they'll make immediate use of the new money.
We just made an order when I got the call from the mayor this morning. Made the order, and so they said that they'll get them into our office by Tuesday.
So the fans are on their way, but not nearly enough to meet the needs.
That's the importance of building community where we all pull together. So it's not the city's sole responsibility, but we call upon the community to work together when we have issues like this.
Working together will get us through the current hot weather, but when it comes to future years, Mayor Mark Mallory says he'll deliver a strong message to the federal government.
Having access to a cool place in the summer is not a luxury. It is a health necessity. We need the federal government to understand that.
In downtown Cincinnati, I'm Mike Buckingham, Fox 19 News.